is Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh, and I'm with Joe Lisi, as we have plenty to get to after a big Sunday in the National Football League. But occasionally, Joe, those big Sundays, those tough results lead to tough decisions. Brian Daboll, the New York Giants head coach for the past couple of seasons, fired today as this team has made the move away from Brian Daboll. That has also been followed with reports that they're not really looking to make other moves, meaning Joe Schoen likely staying as the general manager, at least for now. The New York Giants were up double digits, something that has actually been a little bit more common than you would think for a two-win team this year. But what is not uncommon is they still proceeded to lose that football game to the Chicago Bears, 24-20. This game did flip, though, when Jackson Dart left injured with another concussion. Russell Wilson didn't Daboll at the end of the day. You got to call it like you see it, Joe. Your reaction to what the New York Giants did here?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. 3 games you could pull out, in particular Dallas, Denver, and the loss against Chicago that really, made Brian Daboll's fate and sealed it with that loss. I mean, you have basically a 10-point lead in the second half and allow it to slip. The defense allowed Caleb Williams to come from behind. I call him Street Ball Williams in the fourth quarter because he was improvising but just making plays and really putting the Giants defense on their heels. And again, this team hasn't played for 4 quarters, Kev, throughout the year. I mean, they were inconsistent. They had some nice wins, the Philly win, but they couldn't back it up. Jackson Dart is there, but this team needed a change, and then they made the proper decision for the second half of the season.
I think this is a really tough decision. Hear me out.
Come on.
I think this is a really tough decision. Because I think I've been a bit of a Daboll guy. At the end of the day, I thought what he did in the opening year with Daniel Jones should have been applauded and understood. He didn't hand Daniel Jones that contract, which was a full nightmare, regardless of what he's doing in Indianapolis right now. Now, things were rocky following that season, though Daniel Jones spent most of the time after the year they won a playoff game injured. Jackson Dart is the guy, Joe. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody seems to feel that way.
Right.
Well, he's Brian Daboll's guy. Not even Joe Schoen's. Brian Daboll banged the table and said Jackson Dart is the guy. And you got the quarterback right because of him. And these losses were heartbreaking, and they mounted in a way where I'm not killing the Giants for what they did. I'm not.
Okay.
But I don't think this is an easy decision, and I don't think this is a layup decision. Because you don't often find QB head coach marriages that work easily and immediately, and this one did.
All right.
Dart loved Daboll, and Daboll loved Dart, Joe.
Yeah, it's
and
great,
is that not what matters?
No, it's not what matters, Kev.
So what matters?
What matters is wins and losses, and he had more losses than wins, and he wasn't a good in-game manager. He couldn't coach up
he
this
wasn't
team.
An in-game manager.
And I'll just say this.
He did coach him up. He did
coach him up.
No,
he coached him up in year one. He overexceeded expectations.
They were catching 4.5, covered the number.
Oh, so you know what? He's great. He's elite.
Well, that's what you always tell me. Covered against Denver.
Yeah.
Beat the Philadelphia Eagles outright. Your Super Bowl darling.
Here's the thing, Kev.
I'm just saying.
But wait a second.
Beat
Brian Daboll
and the Chargers.
He's another coach that's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. And we talk about the defensive coordinators that have failed. Eberflus, Vic Fangio.
Sure.
Right? We can go on and on about the defensive talent that they're better. Dennis Allen, they can only coach one side. Well, guess what? He wasn't even coaching the offensive side. They weren't consistent offensively. They had no offensive identity. And you're telling me that Brian Daboll didn't bang the table to get Russell Wilson?
I don't think he did.
What was the whole point of that?
Oh, that was a huge mistake
What
as
about
well.
Jameis Winston?
I agree. They should have let famous Jameis out there throwing the ball around. He might still have a job.
But they got 2 guys. They totally messed this up from the get-go this year.
Again, I agree with that. Dart should have been your week 1 starter. They might be a 500 football team if he was.
It's possible, but that's on Daboll too.
But I think in this league, Joe, you're right. Wins matter when you're supposed to win. Otherwise, when you're in a situation, you're hoping that you have the quarterback, right? And all that matters for the Giants is, do you have the quarterback? And everybody seems to think yes. And Daboll, listen, I understand it was not year number 1 for Brian Daboll. But if it was, People would be saying, I promise you this combination is going to get it figured out. Give them time. They're going to get it figured out. Malik Neighbors out for the year. Cam Scadaboo out for the year.
But even when
defense is a sieve.
Even when they had Neighbors in there last year, they were the only game they broke out was against the Colts.
Sure did
and
break
that was
out,
the one
though.
that could cost them the number 1 overall pick.
Well,
Outside of that, though,
you want him to win or lose.
With all of Brian Daboll's ingenuity and all of his big game offensive explosiveness with Buffalo and Josh Allen, where was that for 4 seasons with the New York Giants?
Well, it was with Jackson Dart. They had juice.
You were on the Giants to overexceed expectations.
I wasn't. They didn't. So
but he wasn't the coach. He wasn't the coach. He coached them down into the dirt.
No, but so then how did they? But listen, he blew games. There's no denying
well, how
that,
could
Joe.
you call that guy back? How?
Because I think there was obvious progress made. I don't see how we are.
Progress where though?
Joe, this team had been floundering in the quarterback room, and everybody believes they have the guy.
But the offense basically in the losses didn't let them down. It was the defense. And
right.
Even
he
though
doesn't coach that side of the ball.
But again, Kev, we talk about these head coaches always push responsibility off on their core. He's the head coach. He has to make adjustments. If the defense isn't stepping up, he has to do something to stop it.
So when Kyle Shanahan hits the podium, his feet are to the fire because they gave up a gazillion to the Rams?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's not.
All right, so then you know what? It's always the coordinator's fault.
No,
the head coach is getting $11 million, $10 million, and then you know what? They don't have to answer any responsibility.
I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure, though, now because now you have to find – listen, you have to get a new head coach. Has to be offensive side of the football.
Okay.
And they now come in to a quarterback who wasn't their guy.
Okay.
Now, you hope it's going to work out fine, but that's not a guarantee. Why? How do you know?
Well, because you're a big believer in Caleb Williams, right? You love Ben Johnson in that situation.
I mean,
so if Chicago got it right, it's the same type of market.
Yeah, but
with New York.
for every Chicago, there's a Brian Callahan wolf. I mean, it just is.
Yeah, but Brian Callahan, again, I never looked at Brian Callahan as like an elite head coach.
No one did, Joe. But my point is,
he was there because of the pedigree with the Callahan family.
Was the hot man was the hot man for a number of years. I think Clint Kubiak's better start getting buzz, but we're not littered right now with layup candidates.
Well, let me ask you this.
Cliff Kingsbury tossed out a bag.
Okay.
For all that money he built up last year, he's not getting hired this year.
Okay, so what happens? Let me ask you this: if they brought in Belichick, you don't think yeah.
Oh, of North Carolina?
Yeah, they're playing much better now.
I wouldn't let him coach my kids. I don't even have any.
I tell you what, they would be more disciplined than what they are now offensively.
They'd be lifeless.
Yes, they would.
They'd be lifeless.
Yes, Brian Daboll is a gutless head coach.
Bill Belichick came off a bye against
gutless
Clemson.
head coach.
3 plays in, they gave up 150 yards. He's lost
North Carolina's on a heater, by the way. I know you don't follow college. You don't follow college anymore.
Oh, trust me, pal, I do. I do a lot more than some others, and I'll tell you that right now. Trust me.
Hot take.
We would have been talking it if you were next to me. That's all I know about that. Bill Belichick is lifeless. That's
really?
What that situation. Yeah, come on. You want to celebrate a cover against Stanford?
I think Bill Belichick reunited in New York would be a much better fit than what Brian Daboll has done for the organization.
Now I know they made a mistake.
No, Brian Daboll's a gutless head coach. He's gutless. Call it what it is. You just don't want to call him out because you think he's a good coordinator.
Well, I know he's a good coordinator.
Yeah, but guess what?
I know he's a good coordinator, and I've seen him get juice out of quarterbacks.
He didn't make adjustments.
I've seen him get juice out of quarterbacks.
Chopped.
Well, because it's not a guarantee you're going to get something out of these young guys.
Deserved.
Cam Ward's the worst quarterback in football.
All of a sudden now, we don't love Cam Ward.
No,
there we go.
Cam Ward is terrible. Jackson Dart's showing something. Daboll gets no credit for that? None. So how about Lane Kiffin? They do that reunition? How about that for a college coach?
I don't think Kiffin would take the job. But
why not?
Because
he's tried the NFL before.
I think but I don't think
Jackson Dart?
He likes college.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got NIL wrapped now. He's got that game down.
Does he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right. So,
Lane Kiffin, one of the best head coaches in modern day.
Citadel.
That bothered you.
No, I didn't bet the game, but I know about the game. You worry about my college knowledge.
They got over their team total.
We'll talk about Joe's former college crush, Joe Burrow. Might be on the way back. It's Pro Football Today. Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond, as I think a lot of people have been noting. that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today is back here on SportsGrid, and while it appears we could spend quite a bit more time talking about the New York Giants moving on from Brian Daboll, it's been a busy NFL cycle here. A lot of news going on. We didn't even get to the games yet, and we're going to have to hold that off for just another moment because Joe Burrow back? Now, this is a story that, I got to be honest, I don't know if anybody's been on this more than Joe Lisi.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people have been silent on the matter. Joe, whether it be in a commercial or on air, what's up with this Burrow? We don't hear anything about this Burrow. Is this Burrow coming back? Well, Joe Burrow may be coming back. They have opened his practice window. It doesn't guarantee he's, back in a snap. Certainly not going to play in their most upcoming game, which will be against the Pittsburgh Steelers next Sunday. Ian Rappaport was quoted as saying a December return is real. So maybe they are without Joe Burrow for another 3-4 games, give or take. Do you expect Burrow to be under center again for Cincinnati this season?
I mean, I thought if he was coming back this week with the Steelers losing to the L.A. Chargers, I would say, yeah, they have an ability to make a run. But coming in December now with the team already at 3-7 and third in the AFC North, I mean, what's the point unless you're going to shop him? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if Burrow comes back and he plays 2 or 3 games and the team at that particular time, let's say, has 10, 11 losses, what's the point?
That's what's kind of puzzling to me here. Like, I am sure Burrow wants to be out there with his guys, but the last 2 losses, Joe, they look just like Joe Burrow was out there. They lose 39-38 to the Jets, 47-42 the Chicago Bears. Again, I understand he wants to be out there. Let's just take their next 3 games. Because, again, we hear December. At Pittsburgh, home against New England, at Baltimore. They will be a dog in all 3 of those games with Joe Flacco. And let's go a step further. Let's put Joe Burrow under center. Let's pretend he could be available for that New England game. I think they're still an underdog, Joe, at home against New England, at Baltimore, at Buffalo, home against Baltimore.
Right.
So, and trust me, as somebody whose pick was, and you can laugh at me because you do every time, Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl, I should hear this and awesome, great. I don't think this really matters. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, the way the defense is playing, it's horrible. Again, they're 3-6.
Trey Hendrickson already doubtful for the next
you
week.
see, like, if he's under center for Pittsburgh, I think he can win that game. I mean, the fact that
but
they won it.
They can win it with Flacco, too.
Yeah, but on the road, you would rather have Burrow.
Sure.
Again, Patriots, the way they're playing, going to be difficult. Ravens now a little bit of momentum, and they pick up the victory over Minnesota. Defense looks better. Again, they're up against it. You can make the argument if Burrow was there for the remaining 8 games that they could potentially be 6-2 with him under center.
So that
but
the hope was going off of what I thought the initial timeline was for him to play in the final 3 games, right? Which was at Miami, home against Arizona, and home against Cleveland, in where he could easily have gone 3-0. So if you enter that stretch, even with 6 wins, hey, maybe 9 and 8 can get us in, right? 6 wins. I mean, are there 3 wins?
Well, I think
is this team winning another 3 games at all? I don't know.
I mean, I think they could steal one against the Steelers. If Flacco is on, they could definitely
do it.
But I know, but the way that team is playing, I don't think Pittsburgh's that good, and we have talked about that.
Yeah.
And they got exposed by L.A. on Sunday night. So to me, I think that's a winnable game with or without Flacco, Burrow, because I just think that Pittsburgh is suspect. The Dolphins, the Cardinals, the way they're playing, and the Browns are 3 straight wins. There's 4.
Yeah.
So now we're talking 7 wins on the season, right? All right. You got to steal 1 against the Ravens. They went toe-to-toe last year with Burrow. Went right down to the wire.
The problem is our tone would be so different, even if they just won 1 of the Jets or Bears games.
Yeah.
Even if
the Bears game was unacceptable. I mean, you have the lead with 25 seconds left, and to allow a touchdown is absolutely pathetic.
So here's the thing with the Bears game, though, Joe, is the Bears game was the reverse of the Jets game, in that the Jets game was 38-24 with 8 minutes left in the game. You can't lose that game. They almost reversed it on Chicago.
Right.
They were down 14 late. They get the 2-point conversion, but to lose both is like unimaginable to me. You just got to win one of those football games. And to your point, then they would need, again, could they get 2 wins from the Pittsburgh, New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore run?
Yeah, I mean,
Burrow back for maybe 2 or 3, maybe.
Right.
Like
I mean, Buffalo's not going to go up into Orchard Park in December is going to be very difficult. I mean, the only time they did it was with Burrow in the playoff win.
And here's the other problem, though, with Cincinnati. And why it's very hard to really give this team any credence. The defense is as bad as ever. When Trey Hendrickson is out there, they are historically awful. They have allowed 500 total yards of offense in each of their last 2 games. And Trey Hendrickson is already listed as doubtful for the matchup against Pittsburgh.
Right.
So I agree with you. I don't think the Steelers are that great. We know that. It's why Baltimore at 4-5 are major favorites to win the AFC North.
Right. So, I mean, right around Thanksgiving, right? The Bengals-Ravens game, the 27th of November. I mean, if he's under center there, could they steal? Could they go 5-1 potentially? It's possible. I mean,
the problem
5-1 gets you 8 wins. There, you're not getting into the playoffs.
No, you're not. Like this, and that's really the issue. Even where you say, like, hey, can we steal one against Baltimore? Maybe, but the Baltimore Ravens are back to finding a bit of a rhythm, right? Defense stepping up a little bit more. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens are 4-5. Their next set of games, Joe, at Cleveland, home against the Jets, home against Cincinnati, home against Pittsburgh, and then at Cincinnati. But I mean, they may be a touchdown favorite in the next 5 weeks. Every one of the games,
right?
They might be a touchdown favorite.
I mean, Zach Taylor's gone. I believe Zach Taylor's gone. I think there's no shot that he comes back next year. But again, the way Baltimore's playing right now.
Can I quickly take that for a second before we hit the break? I want to tie in our top 2 stories together. Better job, Cincinnati or New York?
When you say really better, tough. Like personnel-wise?
If I said, hey, Joe Lisi, you're the best coach in the market, you have an offer from the Bengals, you have an offer from the Giants, which job are you taking?
Well, I would take the Giants because of the market. The media hype, it's Bright Lights, big city. Endorsements, you know what I'm saying? Forget the personnel. Give me the – I'll do GQ. Yeah, no problem. All right. Yeah.
That's an honest answer. That's an honest Lisi would rather coach the Jets than the Chiefs. This guy's amazing. We'll be right back after the break on SportsGrid. Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
We're back with you right here on Pro Football Today. I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by future Jets head coach Joe Lisi. Joe, if you were to take over for the New York Jets,
Right.
You would be in the division that was once ran by the Buffalo Bills, but now maybe ran by the New England Patriots. I'll start with the game in Tampa Bay where, shout out you, best bet comes in, over the number, never in doubt. You're getting pretty good at
2 weeks in a row. Hey, the totals come in. If you're following Pro Football Today over the last 2 or 3 years, you're doing all right.
Can I actually ask, because I know sometimes you have a busy Sunday. Were you watching the final 2 minutes of that first half?
I had it on, but I was keyed on another game, so I
because Mike Vrabel intentionally didn't score a touchdown on first down, and then they ended up just not being able to get in. But because they didn't want the Bucs to get the ball back, so you almost ended up with what looked like quick pat score, Bucs get it, here we go. You almost got nothing. Now they threw the touchdown to Stephon Diggs. It was one of the biggest plays of that game. But aside from your over coming in, New England now 8-2. 5-0 on the road.
Yeah.
That's a big-time statement. I think you could almost argue it's a bigger statement than the Buffalo win because now it stacks on top of it. The win streak goes on, and they are the new favorites to win the AFC East.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the pregame that, their resume, they beat teams like Atlanta, and they beat, obviously, Buffalo in Orchard Park, but Tennessee was in that mix. They beat up on some garbage teams, easiest schedule throughout the year. The second half, they have the easiest schedule down the stretch, but, Travion Henderson all of a sudden lived up to the hype. They had some playmakers out, and Matt Collins, it's amazing that Matt Collins, just no matter what team, 100-yard performance. So, Drake May has elevated his game. I was, down on Drake May, but definitely looks like the franchise guy that they didn't have with Mac Jones. And defensively, their sound and run support, they're opportunistic, play great third down defense, and this team now is really coming into form and peaking in the second half of the season, which is exactly what you want to see with Mike Vrabel, right? The upgraded head coach that they didn't have last year, and now they are the team to beat. The way Buffalo has played this weekend and the way some of the others with the Jets and Dolphins just being dead football teams, New England has an opportunity to potentially be that team in the conference. Now, come playoff time, that's a different animal. It's still Drake May. He hasn't played in a playoff environment, but right now, regular season, yeah, they look like a legitimate football team.
Yeah, I think Drake May is a sophomore superstar. We've seen guys take this leap before, and him sitting in this MVP race actually as the favorite is more than understandable. But I also think a big piece of this is Mike Vrabel, who, I'm a lot more of a fan of than certainly you are, I think, coming into the season. Yeah. He's the new Coach of the Year favorite, and I didn't think anybody was going to have a case over Shane Steichen, and while I still would think the answer should be Steichen, Vrabel's right there.
Right.
And it's a Pats team that, again, it validates so much about that Buffalo win, and now the fact that you're unbeaten on the road in what feels like an open AFC, they are absolutely a part of that conversation. They
yes.
really, really are. I will say, because we're going to talk Buffalo, I want to just say something for people who are in on the Bucs. I think this is a more than fine loss, and I would go as far as to say, don't be worried if they lose to Buffalo, which is their next game, or the LA Rams. If you're a believer in the Bucs, you are just hoping they win the division and they get healthy. And the biggest favorite to win any division right now is the Eagles. The second biggest is the Bucs,
right?
Because of the state still of the South. And for this Tampa Bay team, after they get through these next two games, home versus Arizona, home versus New Orleans, home versus Atlanta, at Carolina, at Miami, home versus Carolina, they are likely going to be favorites in their final 6 games of the season. So for the Bucs, look, you'd love to put a win up over Buffalo or the Rams, or even if you would have been able to hear against New England, Joe. But if you are someone who's looking to bet on Tampa Bay, this just gives you a better opportunity to get a better number.
Yeah, I mean, and again, he's doing it with playmakers that are rookies. Tez Johnson has come on. Cade Otton's had a bigger role. McMillan's not in that offense. Obviously, Bucky Irvin, down, and Tucker taking over the slack. But this identity of this team looks a lot different with those playmakers in it. As long as they're healthy come playoff time, they're going to be just fine. I think for me, look, defensively, that wasn't as best or as good of an effort as we've seen this year. No. Against Drake May, they broke down. They gave up some chunk plays. I think over the course of the year, Bowles will get it right. But Mayfield, again, didn't turn the football over. So 273-3, you put that over the course of the year, they're going to be just fine.
There's going to be a moment where they get healthy. I am not betting the Bucs in the futures market, but I think anyone should. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, at minus 650 to win a division, are 13-1 to win the NFC compared to Sam Darnold and the Seahawks being 5-1. That just gap feels
no
too
respect.
Much. We will talk about Darnold and his Seahawks, Stafford and the Rams, and Josh Allen's loss after the break here on SportsGrid. We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, brother, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
We are with you on SportsGrid, and it is Pro Football Today. A lot of big performances that we need to get to, but Joe, one that surprised many was Buffalo being upset by the Miami Dolphins. Now, Miami scoring in this game was not surprising to me. Best bet over the team total, 20.5. There was a moment where it was like, oh gosh, this team is going to actually not score again in the second half. But Devon Achane handled that with not just one, but two monster runs in the fourth quarter, one of 59 yards and another of 35. Each of those went for touchdowns. Achane ran for 174 yards against a very, very injured Buffalo Bills defense. But again, this would feel a little bit different if the only thing that went wrong was the Buffalo Bills defense. Josh Allen, this offense was awful. The 306 passing yards are not representative of how this game looked. Even the 4-point yards per carry is not. Josh Allen's 28.8 QBR, that's more like it. The turnovers were bad. The offense didn't score a point through the first 3 quarters of this game. They didn't get their second touchdown on the board until there was less than 4 minutes remaining, and it didn't make a difference really in the game overall, Joe. How concerning was this loss for the Buffalo Bills?
Well, concerning. You knock off Pat Mahomes 28-21. You dominated at home. The front seven that was, called out in that matchup got multiple pressures on Patrick Mahomes and made him look human in that win. And then all of a sudden you go on the road to South Beach and you come out completely flat. Your offense converts 5 of 15 on third down conversions. You're able to move the football basically between the 40s, but can't get into the red zone against a dead football team that shipped Jalen Phillips and a number of others out the door, including their GM, Chris Greer. I mean, this was a gutless football team in Miami. You made them look like basically Super Bowl champs. I mean, to get blown out by Miami is pathetic if you're McDermott and the crew. And again, it falls on the head coach. He doesn't get enough. Well, you can make the argument that McDermott hasn't coached this team up with having great talent.
I think that argument is there. I think for this Buffalo regime, you are staring down the barrel of major changes because you may end up with what will be their biggest missed opportunity during this entire run. Again, sometimes you miss an opportunity in the playoffs, right? The Buffalo Bills beat Kansas City, Joe, last week, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked about a trio of teams within the AFC, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore. And we think about the seasons that we've seen for both Baltimore and Kansas City. Chiefs are 5-4, super abnormal for who they are. Ravens are 4-5, even more abnormal. Odds to win their division. Baltimore minus 220. Chiefs plus 150. The Bills are plus 195.
Yeah.
It is now, from what was a week ago, Buffalo conference favorites, team to beat. A week later, they are now more likely than either KC or Baltimore to be the one who's a wild card team.
Yeah.
A 5 seed who has to go to Baltimore to start their postseason run. Will be booked as a dog if that's the case there.
Right.
It is so unacceptable for the Buffalo Bills. And we talk about the easy New England schedule. Bill's schedule has been just about as easy. Yeah. Again, the biggest difference between the two teams is they played one another in Buffalo, and the Bills lost. Joe, this is one of the most unacceptable seasons we have seen. I know the sky hasn't fully fallen. I know there's a lot of runway left here, and maybe they'll still find a way to win a division. But anything other than winning the division is the bare minimum for this football team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about that bell curve. They're on the back side. They're on the back 9 right now. But it does fall on McDermott. Yeah. And the biggest thing, and I don't want to take the success of Vrabel and the Patriots away because they are 5-0 on the road. That is a huge definer when we look at, can this team win multiple playoff games en route to a championship? I would much rather buy in on both of these teams now, even though I said Drake May hasn't won a playoff game. they're battle tested. They're finding ways, even though it might be sub 500 competition, to knock these teams off and win on the road. Where you look at Buffalo, they're 6-3. They're a 500 road team with Josh Allen, with James Cook. Now, we knew their defense had problems. We got that. They were never going to be considered a top 5 unit. But the problem is that this team now is playing down to the legs. This was a 2-win football team.
Yeah.
A 2-win football team, and they were dead. They got blown out by Lamar Jackson, and you allowed them to kick your ass in South Beach. I mean, it's unacceptable.
Listen, I know what you think of this Dolphins group. I mean, it's a win that I'm not.
They allowed maybe potentially Mike McDaniel to live another day. That's what I'm really upset about.
Oh, I would say Mike McDaniel now. I would say if you said yes, no, right? I'm sure this probably was out there on the.
Well, I think it's now 70-30 to the no, but now he's still got a heartbeat. Whereas
I don't think he gets fired. I don't think Mike McDaniel gets fired. Do you?
Yeah, I think.
No. I'm not asking you what you want to happen. You still think he gets fired?
I think they were going to wait till the end of the year and then ship him off. Because again, why you bring in a new GM? You want to have this guy as your coach?
No. So in firing Ross and not McDaniel, you basically said we're going to give him the rest of this season to see what he shows us, and he just beat the Buffalo Bills 30-13. Job saved. I don't see any other way.
Job saved. Now, one game doesn't make the job. If they go out and if they finish 3-14, he's good.
Well, of course, I don't expect them to finish 3-14. I think that. Well, so here's the really interesting, Joe. Next game, they're going to be in Spain against Washington. They're going to be booked as favorites in that one, we would expect, right?
Anything can happen in these international games.
I got you. I'm just saying, right? Then they're going to hit their bye week. They're going to come out of the bye. Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals. I think Burrow's, there's winnable football games on this schedule. I'm not telling you they're going to win 6 games. But the win total live right now, I'll try and pull it up. I mean, it's probably 5.5, 6.5 for Miami. I mean, they're not supposed to win 3 anymore. It's 5.5 minus 160 to the over. I would be surprised if Mike McDaniel was fired.
Okay.
You can think it's a mistake. I'm not telling you otherwise.
No, I think he's dead man walking. I think there's no shot.
You think him being the Buffalo Bills doesn't make the difference?
No.
I'm stunned by that. I really am.
I mean, it was a great performance by them.
What if they win the next game? You think that makes a difference at all?
I think 9-8 would make McDaniel. Well, again,
9-8.
Yeah,
you're just not living in reality with that.
Oh, all right. So if they go, so you're telling me a coach that took this team to the playoffs basically in his first 2 years, and now limps out of the playoffs last year and limps out this year. That's acceptable? We're going the other way. It's almost like the Daboll factor. You get to the playoffs in the beginning, and now you're regressing year after year after year, and we're supposed to accept that?
Again, you don't have to accept it.
But it was on Chris Greer? We're going to blame Greer for the play on the football field?
Well, again, I think I said they fired Ross. They fired Greer. I'm glad you corrected that. But my point, Joe, they've had countless opportunities to get rid of Mike McDaniel. Countless.
Well,
we thought he was going to get fired in week 3. If they got smashed by Buffalo, and that didn't happen. We thought he might get fired if they lost to Carolina. That didn't happen. They've given him time and time again to prove himself, and then he just went and had. I mean, listen.
So
you
you're telling me the report?
So it's probably the biggest win of his career.
Okay, but the reports of the players checked out, being late for meetings.
But the results So I'm sorry, but I don't think the results bear that out. That they're checked out. I think the results bear out that Tua might be a problem. And I don't think Tua is likely to be the quarterback of this team next year.
All right.
Well, Joe, how are they checked out and they just smashed the Buffalo Bills?
Again, I've said this about McDaniel. When the game plan works from the beginning, he smashes teams.
Well,
he didn't have to make any adjustments against the Bills. The Bills came out completely flat, and his game plan of running the football
but
and with each end
still found
worked.
a way to throw 2 interceptions in that game. Do you think Tua or McDaniel's the bigger issue?
I think it's I don't like Tua, but I think McDaniel's the bigger issue. I do.
Well, I think the organization sees it differently.
Well, that's why they haven't won a playoff game since 2000. And that's why they haven't won a Super Bowl since 72. I mean, we can go through this argument. I've lived the pain of being a Dolphins fan long enough with the likes of Don Strzok and Joe Rose and David Wood and all the garbage that we've had since 1984 and lived through Marino, and now we have this problem. It's unacceptable. He needs to be chopped.
Well, I don't think it's likely at this point in time. We will talk about everything that you saw on Sunday, including a ton of overs, after the break right here on SportsGrid. We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, brother, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Into the NFC West. Oh, we're here with you right here and on Pro Football Today. So great to have you. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, my God. Joe, yesterday, you did something for the first time all year. Best bet, over, in the 1 o'clock window. Came in. We love to see that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, though. Because I think you would have been beating yourself up a little bit.
Why?
4 o'clock window yesterday.
Every game was a moonshot.
Every single one of the games had over 60 points. And you had a lot of high-scoring football yesterday. In fact, you had 2 games booked with totals of sub-40 that smashed. Jets, Browns, 37 and a hook.
And Jags.
I mean, that game's they're still scoring points. And by the way, if you had Jacksonville plus 1.5, my condolences. My goodness me, oh my, that guy returning the thick 6. We do love to see a big man scoring. When that opportunity comes, you have to take it. I would have done the same thing if I had that opportunity. I didn't. It is what it is. I'm just saying I would have taken that opportunity. Did you have any takeaway from what was a big scoring day, at least what felt like a big scoring day, Joe? Or we had a ton of points scored in the Berlin game at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Between Atlanta and Indianapolis.
A bunch of that was done through the offensive productivity of Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. They put up numbers. When you look at the Jets, they get the punt return. Justin Fields had one pass to Breece Hall for 42 yards, and that was a pathetic stat line, right? You look at the Arizona game. Not one, but 2 fumble returns by DeMarcus Lawrence. I didn't think it was possible that Jacoby Brissett would get smashed not once but twice and feel the pressure, man. Step up in the pocket, do something. Yeah. The game plan for some of these teams that lost yesterday was absolutely pathetic. I mean, I know you love Detroit, but if you're Washington, you know you're undermanned. You know that you can't get into a shootout. You just can't. You didn't get into a shootout with Pat Mahomes. You're not going to do it with this team in Detroit. And their inability to run the football consistently. Chris Rodriguez comes out in the first half. He has basically averaged 5 yards a carry and a touchdown. They never go back to the rushing attack.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you neutralize an explosive offense when your defense stinks? You run the football. I mean, I just don't understand all these gurus. Tell me what we're missing here.
I think again, what stands out, of course, is that 4 o'clock win. I mean, Detroit just smashed them.
But the 49ers, too, when I broke the game down, what did I tell you? Mac Jones and that team can't get into a shootout with the Rams, right? So where was the rushing attack with McCaffrey, with Brian Robinson?
I want to ask you a question.
Fall behind 21-0.
I want to ask you a question. All right? You look at the way the markets are moving, right? There's a lot of belief in what Seattle is doing and what LA is doing. They are actually playing one another next week.
Yep.
Who were you more impressed by, LA or Seattle, in what was, still, at least by final score, dominant victories?
For me,
you could say you weren't that impressed if that's the case, because your face is kind of telling me that.
No, I'm not fully impressed with both.
Okay.
But if you're asking me in a playoff environment, which team do I feel now is built better? Mm-hmm. I think it's Seattle.
Okay.
Even though it's Darnold, because that defense, I think, to me, is flying to the football. The front seven, they're very difficult to run on. The back end forces turnovers. They get after quarterback pressures. And what's the one thing they have? A two-headed beast with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker that in a playoff environment they can ground and pound. As opposed to, I know they're Kyron and Blake are there, but it's more of a finesse type of offense, I feel. I just feel like, Stafford, I know he's putting up MVP type of numbers, best season potentially over the last 5 or 6 years, but you saw Devontae Adams go down. He tweaked his back, just juking yesterday. I still believe I've been more impressed with Seattle and how opportunistic they have been, and plus they're a battle-tested road team. They have now a win streak on the road where they know how to go into tough environments and pull out a W. And I'm not taking away from the Rams win. I just think that again, was more that San Francisco so beat up that game plan that they went in with the other day, just it was the wrong game plan.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed L.A. to build the lead.
So for me, I think that Seattle having, I think it's like 3 of the 5 biggest scoring first halves all year long. I think there's something to that. I thought the defense would be very good coming into the season.
Right.
So from that end of it, they've absolutely proven that defense is real.
I think they have the argument, not to take it away. I think they could be the best unit.
I agree with you.
And I'm talking just the eye test. I thought it was Philly to start the year, but obviously we haven't seen that just yet. Defensively. But again, there's still the second half of the season, and I believe in Fangio, big picture. But Seattle, to me, is like, wow, the eye test. This is like the Ravens with Ray Lewis back in the day.
But listen, I know people will find this to be unfair. I don't really care. Sam Darnold playing like 2 nearly perfect games in 2 consecutive weeks and still finding the way to turn it over like 4 times is insane.
Yeah. He reverted back to his days with the Jets in the second half.
Again, he threw a pick that cost him the perfect passer rating against Wild. I think that's crazy. My bigger takeaway from Rams-Niners, and I'm not taking anything away from L.A. I told you I couldn't trust San Francisco. I was worried LA couldn't run it up. I didn't bet LA. No. So if I had to bet the game, I would have taken the Niners. I'm not saying that. Here's my thing. My biggest takeaway is, as somebody who bet the Niners in a number of markets, it caught up to them.
Yeah.
The defense has no hope.
Yeah.
You cannot lose this many guys and maintain.
And think about the road.
It's just impossible.
Think about the road. They had back-to-back road games against Houston and the Giants.
Yeah.
And then they come back home against it just seemed like a fresher team.
The only here is the weird thing for the Niners, though. These next few games at the Cardinals favorites, Carolina favorites, Cleveland, Tennessee.
They're going to be there.
They're gonna be there, but they probably can't get to more than like 10 wins.
Now
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe they're just, I don't know. Maybe Kyle's too good. Maybe they'll find a way to get to 11 or 12.
But at what point do you start putting when is Purdy coming back?
They think all of a sudden now, maybe next week.
Again, is he definitely 100%? And that's the other thing. We're going to rush him back out there.
But is he better than Mac Jones
No.
right now? Mac Jones has been playing good football this year.
I think Mac Jones has proved that he could be a starter in this league, and we talked about he's going to be that next name.
I think he's proved he could be a starter with Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
I think those are different things for me. But what we're going to do is take a break here. We've talked a lot about yesterday's slate. It was an excellent slate. But we've got you settled up here. It is a primetime preview, and that is next. It is Pro Football Today with Joe Lisi and Kevin Walsh right here on SportsGrid. All the information you need to know after the break. We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, brother, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. It is Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. Lisi, anything we missed from Sunday you wanted to mention here quickly?
No, I mean, I think we hit on, a lot of the topics. I think when you look at, we talked about San Francisco, I mean, they're going to be a team, I think, that still can make some noise because of Christian McCaffrey. And McCaffrey.
Just the defense is a mess, Joe. I know, but I don't know.
I still believe in them, and if they get to the playoffs, they're gonna make some noise. I still think Tampa to me is the one lottery ticket. I still believe in Baker.
I think what's really interesting with the NFC, and then we'll take this right into tonight's game. I will say, but if you look right now, right, Seattle, Philly, Green Bay, Tampa, the Rams, and the Lions.
Okay.
I think most people would say those six are obviously making it. That leaves one spot for the Niners, the Bears. I think we're done with Carolina after they lost to the Saints,
yeah,
right?
I mean, that was a pathetic loss.
It's interesting, but Joe, we might be down to 8 teams that feel like they have any chance to make it in the NFC. Now, someone's going to be really disappointed when it's not them, but it's interesting to me.
So, Bears and Niners, which one would you take? Right here, right now to make the playoffs. I mean, your guy's stepping up. Street Ball Williams.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, he's street ball, and I'm telling you, when everything breaks down, you see the hop, skip, the jump.
But that's what's always been the draw with Caleb. Is
yes, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, is the crazy stuff. He does. It's like, this is nuts. What are you doing? But he's just running all over the place.
I know.
I mean, I think it's
but
you hear
even
it when the ball comes out.
You see Ben Johnson is like, what are we doing?
Ben Johnson's like, I like to call crazy plays. You're just doing crazy stuff.
He does the hop. He does the jump.
I know. No, listen, I don't know with Chicago, right? I think that
is their defense better than San Francisco's?
I don't know. The problem for here's the big thing for the Niners. They've already played. They only have one more game versus Seattle left, right? My thing is they've played a lot of that tough NFC West schedule. Do you know where the Bears? The Bears still have 2 Packers games, a Lions game. Like that's tough.
It's
football.
an uphill battle.
Now, listen, can they beat these teams?
Look,
yes, but
I'm going to say this right now. I don't care who is playing well in the NFC.
Okay.
When the playoffs come, my money's on the Eagles, and that's the only team that is worth
tonight,
it.
Then.
That is the only team that I'm backing in a playoff environment.
Eagles check in tonight. They are actually in some spots a slight favorite. All of a sudden, their pick in others. They're flipping to they're going to close as a favorite. Philly actually, everywhere is Green Bay pick or Philly booked as a slight favorite right now, which is just remarkable.
Why is it remarkable? They match up well against the Packers. I think we're forgetting. The Packers lost to Carolina. They lost obviously in the playoffs to Philly, and they lost Week 1 last year. So. At their best, if Green Bay is at their best and Philly's at their best, I think Philly wins by a touchdown. That's just bottom line. I know it's Lambeau. I know it's a tough environment. But again, the way they were able to run the football with Saquon against New York and the offensive line, they're coming out of a bye week. You think that now this is it. They smell the light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to get Jalen Hurts in Philly's best effort.
It's a really tough spot because Green Bay coming off of that loss to Carolina, you should be getting their best effort.
Yeah, but what is their identity? At least we know, okay, Philly's identity is they want to run and work off of play action, and they could throw it better than they did last year. But what is the identity of Green Bay and Jordan Love? Is it Jordan Love? Throwing 300 yards a game, or is it going to be what they did last year when their backs were against the wall and run Josh Jacobs is 80% of the productivity?
Okay, so offensive identity, I hear you.
Who's the number one for Green Bay? Is it Watson?
Well,
is it Golden? Is it Dobbs? Is it Wicks?
The problem was they had a number 1, and he was one of the best players in the league this season in Tucker Kraft, and he's now out for the year.
Right.
And you come into this game, and both Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks are on the injury report. I don't know if either guy is going to be up tonight. So is Zach Tom, one of the better offensive linemen on this football team. The Eagles not only bring over Jalen Phillips at the deadline, Nolan Smith activated for this game. So that Philly pass rush all of a sudden can have a little bit of juice. Eagles are going to still be without Cam Jurgens, but they didn't have him against the Giants, and it was the best game they had as a rush offense all year. Jurgens not had a good season. I think it's a tricky game. But the more I stare down the barrel at total, 45.5, I'm thinking it's light. I don't know. You love a side here tonight?
It's Eagles. I like the side better than I like the total because here's the thing. It wouldn't shock me if the Eagles look to run it down their throat and we get under this 40 and it looks similar to what we had in the playoff win.
Yeah,
where they win it by 12, it's an ugly game, and Saquon and Jalen are doing all the legwork.
I think this is a spot where if Philly wins, right, top of the NFC, shouldn't be much of a debate. But if Green Bay loses, that conversation gets real muddy.
Yeah,
like all of a sudden we just talked about, who's going to – they would have the fewest wins. They'd have less wins than the Niners and the Chicago Bears. So things get really interesting. Great stuff as always from my guy Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, Pro Football Today, SportsGrid. Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond, as I think a lot of people have been noting. That move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think if you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in, Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, you know, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here